Where most of you live, there are trees. In the country, forests may cover the hills, and trees give welcome shade to your homes. A village street would seem bare without shade trees. And even in cities, man uses trees and other plants to beautify and soften the harsh world of concrete and steel. Other films show the importance of trees. This one shows the features you can use to identify them. Like all of nature, trees mark the passing of the year with its ever-changing cycle of the seasons. When winter arrives, they enter their long time of inactivity, only to awake when spring comes once more to the sleeping earth. Then new flowers and leaves unfold in the warmth of the sun, rising higher each day. Summer is the time for the leaves to make food for tree growth and for fruit to develop, like those of this maple. Finally, autumn closes the circle of the seasons once more, and the trees prepare for winter. As the days get shorter and night frosts come, most of the deciduous or broad-leaved trees, like this magnolia, begin to lose their leaves. Where leaf joins twig, a corky layer has grown. As a layer outside this one weakens, the leaf breaks off and sails away. The curved green patch is the leaf scar. Later, when it has weathered, it will look like this. On some trees, like walnut and butternut, the leaf scars are very big and look like little faces. The eyes and noses are the sealed-up ends of sap tubes that carried water to the leaf and food back to the growing tree. In late autumn, we can see that there are two great races of trees: the broad-leaved or deciduous that lose their leaves, and the conifers or narrow-leaved evergreens that stay green the year round. Even with this great difference, both groups have something that promises spring shall follow winter. Buds. Buds that already hold miniature leaves and flowers protected by waxy scales from winter's drying winds. Twigs of deciduous trees, with their buds and leaf scars, have a special story to tell, but a small magnifying lens is needed to learn it. When magnified, the end or terminal buds of sugar maple and buckeye are very different from each other. The sugar maple terminal bud and the two opposite side buds are narrow and tapering and have many scales. The buckeye bud is big and wide with few scales. Entirely different is the sumac, which never forms a terminal bud. New growth comes from a side bud near the end. Happening year after year, this makes the twig crooked, and the whole top of the tree becomes bushy. Both magnolia and tulip tree twigs have terminal buds, but see how different they are. The magnolia has large hairy buds. Tulip tree buds are smooth and shaped like a duck's bill. All winter long you can make twig collections of the deciduous broad-leaved trees and explore the many patterns of buds and leaf scars. Bark features are useful the year around, but they seem to stand out best when trees are leafless. The Indians used paper birch bark for canoes. You will find the beech tree with its smooth blue-gray bark in parks and woodlands. The sycamore with its mottled bark is found along streams. In parks or woodlands, look for cones on the evergreens like this blue spruce. Spruces and most other conifers stand tall and straight with a single trunk. Spruces have pointed, usually four-sided needles, and you can see and feel the edges. Your balsam fir Christmas tree looks something like a spruce, but the leaves are flat and rounded on the ends. Then there are the pines with long, slender needles, unlike those of other conifers because they grow in bundles. You can see on this red pine the two needles in each bundle. When pine cones fall off, you can pick them up and start a cone collection. Spring never arrives all at once. Pussy willows come early. Their buds open part way while snow is still on the ground, but they open no further until the sun is higher yet in the sky. Then they develop into long, fuzzy catkins. In each catkin, there are hundreds of tiny, closely packed flowers. Now you can watch the stamens emerging. Pollen from the stamens is important food for young honeybees in the hive, or young bumblebees in their underground nests. These and other kinds of bees eagerly search for the new pollen of willows and other trees. Most people never recognize tree flowers because they are often small and don't look like those in the garden. These little yellow flowers of the Norway maple soon cover a tree by the tens of thousands. Perhaps only 1 in 1,000 will finally grow into the winged fruit of the maple. The others fall to the ground, clutter sidewalks, pile up in gutters, and finally go back to the earth which they enrich. On this single block of sidewalk, there are about 10,000 of these flowers. While we watched the willow and maple, other trees and shrubs were blooming too. This star magnolia is a beautiful ornamental small tree crowded with white flowers. And the petals of flowering crab open, showing stamens and pistils. Everywhere things are in bloom. Here, a double white flowering cherry. And from millions of buds, new leaves are emerging, each kind with its own story. Notice how the edges of the leaves in this poplar are unrolling. A very important thing to notice about buds and the leaves that come out of them is their arrangement on the twig. Are the buds and new leaves singly placed and alternate along the twig like these of the elm? Or are the new leaves opposite each other in pairs like these of maple? Only a few trees have opposite leaves, and mad horse will help you to remember them. Maple, ash, dogwood, and horse chestnut. Most other common trees have alternate leaves. Leaves are also simple or compound. A leaf with a single blade is simple. One that has several little leaves or leaflets is compound. When the leaves are full-sized, it is a good time to make a collection. No two leaves are ever just alike. But if you learn one leaf of this tulip tree, you can recognize any others you might see. In the oaks and some other trees, it's not as easy because of the great variation in leaf shape and size, even on the same tree. If you make a leaf collection, do it early, before caterpillars eat holes in the leaves, or perhaps eat them entirely. Most tree fruits are mature by autumn, but those of soft maples, willows, and poplars shed their seeds in June. Here are the capsules of the poplar, eastern cottonwood, opening and shedding their seeds, each with its own parachute of silky hairs. If you see cottonwood seeds go sailing by, walk into the wind, and perhaps you can find the tree. Each seed has only a little stored food and water for its journey, and unless it finds a moist place soon, it will die. A sandbar or riverbank is a good place for the seeds to germinate. To see how small they are, here is a common pin. One of these little trees might grow to be 100 feet tall and 8 feet in diameter. All summer long, green leaves make food for tree growth and for growing fruits and seeds. Leaves make food by using the energy of the sun. They also use important minerals and water from the ground, and carbon dioxide from the air. But without green chlorophyll and the sun's rays, there would be no food making and no life on Earth as we know it. When summer passes and the leaves begin to turn color, we can look for autumn tree fruits like these oak acorns, or the bright red fruits of the flowering dogwood, and those of mountain ash, which is not an ash at all, but belongs in the rose family. Witch hazel capsules open slowly, showing the white tips of their shiny black seeds, which are shot from 10 to 20 feet away from the tree. Let's watch this again, and then in slow motion, see the seeds go. On wet autumn days, pine cones stay closed, but when it is warm and dry, they open. The winged seeds slip out and fly away, carried by the wind. And so once again, the cycle of the seasons is completed, and broad-leaved trees paint the countryside with their colors before the beginning of the long sleep. We leave you with a question. What would our lives be like without trees?